man, Trump is having a hard time. Now, he read a glowing profile that the New York Post penned in regard to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and he didn't like it. And he's getting more and more belligerent in his attacks against DeSantis, which we'll get to in just a moment. But to be fair to Trump, the New York Post piece on DeSantis was definitely a puff piece. It was incredible. I'm gonna read you a few excerpts before we get to Trump's reaction to it. Salena Zito, who wrote the piece, writes that DeSantis narrowly won his first run for governor in 2018, but became the shining beacon for Republicans in the party's otherwise underwhelming performance in the 2022 midterms. She continues to write, he has done so by publicly tangling with Disney over their condemnation of the Florida state legislature's parental rights in education bill, dubbed the Don't Say Gay bill by critics, and managing to clean up after the devastation, or managing the cleanup after the devastation of Hurricane Ian. And then she writes, even President Biden was forced to admit DeSantis's emergency efforts were remarkable. Okay. The entire piece also tries to paint DeSantis as this blue collar warrior. He worked his way through college, paying his own way when he was going to Yale and all of that. They did also ask DeSantis about Trump in the piece. Salena Zito writes, now he is giving Trump a run for his money in nearly every national and state poll about a possible presidential run. He is also leading over Biden in a head-to-head matchup. Asked if the name on his high school locker was ever changed to DeSanctimonious, the derisive nickname bestowed upon him by Donald Trump, he laughs, quote, no, there weren't enough letters to be able to do that. I don't know if anyone even can spell that. Got him, got him. Okay, so we're gonna get to Trump in just a minute, but man, what stands out to me, right, aside from the Trump-DeSantis feud, is how right-wing media just comes together in an effort to prop up one candidate. And in this case, it's DeSantis.
This piece was hilarious, guys. I almost want you to read this New York Post piece so you can see what propaganda looks like. It's like a perfect definition. Everything, as Anna said, was glowing about DeSantis, but even the pictures.
I know.
The pictures of like a cute little kid with a fish that he caught.
Baby pictures of him, yes.
Right?
Yep.
And then him swinging at a, like he's Mickey Mantle on Yale's team, right? Probably on a ball that he whiffed on. Anyway.
Some wedding pictures.
Wedding pictures, him in the military uniform twice, right?
Yep.
Everything was like glowing, this heroic picture. It earned praise even from Biden. He was forced to give him that praise. Biden loves Republicans, praises Republicans 24/7. Any given opportunity, he's like, oh, my Republican friends, I love working with them, right? So pure hilarious propaganda, but that isn't the interesting part. The right-wing media does propaganda for a living. And remember, we just found out from Rupert Murdoch, the leaked emails and texts that he told the CEO of Fox News, make sure that you help the Republicans win the Georgia Senate seats. So they definitely have an agenda, and their news division definitely propels that agenda, not just their opinion, folks. So New York Post, owned by Murdoch, is saying that they're declaring very forcefully in this article, we're for DeSantis and against Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. They're putting their thumb on the scale. With all that said, why don't we go to Trump's reaction to the New York Post, which was actually pretty impressive because he managed to mention like Jeb Bush, Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, like what? None of those people were mentioned in the New York Post piece, but nonetheless, he writes, in writer Salena Zito's fake news puff piece about DeSantis, which supposedly appeared in the dying New York Post. What do you mean supposedly appeared? You read it.
It definitely appeared. We all saw it.
Which is way down in readership, just like Fox News is way down in ratings. Why doesn't she mention that he wants to cut Social Security and Medicare, loves losers like Jeb Bush, Paul Ryan, and Karl Rove, and is getting clobbered in the polls by me? Is he? DeSantis is a rhino who's trying to hide his past. I don't read the New York Post anymore. It has become fake news, just like Fox and the Wall Street Journal. So, I mean, it was a puff piece though.
Yeah,
it was. And look, Trump of course listed all these people who he has had spats with in the past. Of course, we learned of those messages that Murdoch was sending to other executives over at Fox in regard to Trump and his election lies. So he's probably super salty about that. But we're also learning a lot about DeSantis from a new Washington Post piece that kind of gives you a timeline regarding his lack of support toward Trump, then support toward Trump once he felt that it would be politically advantageous to suck up to him. And now all of a sudden, DeSantis is wiping the internet of that embarrassing ad where he was sucking up to Donald Trump in the 2018 election for governor.
Yeah. By the way, Ron, we got news for you. We've got it saved.
Yeah.
Everyone has it saved. You're not going to be able to wipe the internet of anything, let alone a political ad you ran in Florida. So first, shocking turn of events. For the first time ever, Donald Trump is right about a puff piece and fake news. It is fake news. It's not like every part of it was ass kissing towards Ron DeSantis. It did not give his full record. It had no critique of him whatsoever. It was hilarious.
Zero critique.
Right? And I mean, it would take things like he went to Yale and turned it into, and he worked at an electrical wiring place like the blue collar guy that he is. And then they explained, it was a summer job right before he went to Yale. Instead of saying like he got like a rando summer job before going to an elite school, they made it seem like, blue collar guy.
No, but guys, that's important to focus on because look, the New York Post and right-wing media, they know what made Trump appealing to the base. And it was the honestly hollow, empty talking points that made it appear as though he was some sort of economic populist. Someone who actually understood the economic frustrations of ordinary blue-collar Americans. That's why they're trying to paint Ron DeSantis that way, even though there's really no indication that that's the case. Ron DeSantis went to elite schools. He's an elite politician serving as governor in Florida. And look, it doesn't even matter what his background is. What does he advocate for? And Trump is also correct about he'd want to cut Social Security and Medicare. There's no question about that. And to Trump's credit, for everything that he's done and everything that he said that I can't stand him for, he did say, don't touch Medicare and Social Security. That's gonna hurt the Republican Party.
Yeah, whether he actually means it when he gets in office is a different question, but at least he said it, which is better than a lot of Republicans. So we're the fairest show in America. We hate Donald Trump for good reasons they explain, and we explain policy-wise why we do, right? But when he's right, we have no problem saying that he's right about something. So, and in fact, by the way, I would, if you said to me right now, pick DeSantis or Trump, I would pick DeSantis to win the Republican primary. But nonetheless, Trump is right about this, okay? And why did he mention randomly Paul Ryan and Karl Rove? Because Paul Ryan is on the board of Fox News. Karl Rove is a contributor to Fox News. And so is he right that Wall Street Journal, New York Post, and Fox News are against him? Yes, Rupert Murdoch owns all three, and he's clearly going to war against Donald Trump. So he's right to point out, and in the case of Murdoch, that's fake news is his bread and butter. That's all he's ever done is fake news. That was the whole point of Fox News. New York Post, last we checked in, loses $50 million a year every year. And he does that anyway to do propaganda pieces like this for politicians that he favors. He used to favor Donald Trump, now he's favoring Ron DeSantis. And so this war between Murdoch and Trump is winner take all.
It's delicious.
And it's amazing, and it's really important for the future of this country as to who wins. But nonetheless, even though in this case, I want Murdoch's guy over Trump, Murdoch is the guilty one in this equation because he's putting out total drivel and attacking Trump, who he loved before when he was giving him trillions of dollars in tax cuts.
We see his thumb, we see where it is. Yes. It's on the scale.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.